Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Fitness Show. This is episode 14. Today we're going to be talking about eating healthy on a budget. Sounds pretty impossible with the recession, or is it a recession, or did they redefine that too? Let's
Depends
go
on
to
your
the
definition.
let's go to the big brain. Big Mike Behrens is going to tell us all about macro and microeconomics.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, that is not my strong suit, so I don't know if we'll dive into that, but we can talk about macronutrients if you want.
Good segue. Good segue.
How you doing today, dude?
I'm doing good, doing good. We had a little bit of internet trouble. We're recording this in the afternoon of the day we usually record on Fridays.
Mhm.
So just to give everybody a little bit of a reminder, every Wednesday, the audio version will now drop at 3 a.m. I wanted to experiment a little bit. It was 6 a.m., but now the Wednesday episode of the audio version will drop Wednesday. Well, it is the one, every episode is Wednesday, 3 a.m. for the audio, and God willing, the YouTube gods willing,
Yeah.
we won't get any copyright strikes on episode 14, but they have to switch to another video platform if that keeps up.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope we don't get any for not doing anything.
But yeah, I mean, if we're going to do something wrong, we might as well. They first
Let's
have
do it.
to, oh, hit the microphone. Right. By the way, fourth microphone since we started recording. You're starting to get into the groove of my microphone madness.
Need to change it every couple of weeks just to keep the theme running.
I don't need to, but that's what ends up happening. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe now we won't get any copyright strikes or anything because I'm using a NT1, fifth gen. Maybe they weren't fans of the LCT 440. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
YouTube
That's
is
probably what it is.
very right on. Hey, that guess is as good as any other we came up with. It's like
Yeah.
we
That's for
showed the
sure.
PRX home gym calculator is
Yeah.
the only thing we did different in episode 13. So I guess
Yep.
that's copyrighted material, I guess.
I mean, technically, it probably is, but I can't. We're like it was a informational. Isn't there some kind of like news thing where it's fair use
Fair
type
use.
deal?
Yeah.
Like shouldn't be a problem. So whatever, we'll deal with it and just try not to get any more copyright claims on our own content.
Yeah, what we're probably going to do is we're not going to bring up any calculator sites or anything
No.
from this point on. We're just going to count with our fingers, and everybody at home, you can
Yep.
use that calculator on your iPhone as we try to figure out, which I think we've done a pretty decent job, but we're predisposed with our wrestling careers
Hmm.
to save as much as possible, eat, get a cheap hotel, get a cheap rental car. Everything is pretty much penny pinching when you're on the road. And
Sure.
most people don't have that type of wiring in their brain to save every dime they can.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So today's conversation talking about that is how to save some money and still eat healthy. That's one thing too that we have to figure out, especially for you when you were on the road. Like you had to figure out how to eat healthy and not break the bank every time you do it, because eating healthy on the road is super expensive and it's hard to manage that. And then it's on the road all the time. So you're probably well versed in eating healthy on a budget, right?
Well, I would say not eating in restaurants and not going to the convenience store unless it's for a drink or whatever. But eating healthy wasn't exactly what I did on the road. It was mostly
Mm,
shakes and bars,
sure.
which isn't
Sure.
super healthy. And then carb depleting before TV and doing a lot of different stuff that had to do with trying to look as striated or as vascular as possible.
Sure.
That didn't do my adrenals or my metabolism any good after 20, 30 years of that. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily, I'd say of saving more money than usual, but not necessarily eating healthy on the road.
Yeah, sure. No, I get it. Well, okay. So you live and you learn, I guess.
I learned it
Yeah.
all the hard way. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about what we're doing is if we learn it the hard way, we can then share it. And then hopefully other people don't have to learn it the hard way. And I think that's to kind of give some reasoning for this episode and why we're even doing this episode. It's because of a Twitter conversation that I had a couple weeks ago where someone was asking for some advice on how to get in shape or how to dial things in a little bit. And they said they just didn't have the money to eat healthy, or I don't remember exactly what he said, but we started going back and forth on a few things about eating healthy and how you can do it on a budget. And I just real quickly broke down a simple plan to eat healthy, to get good protein, good carbs, in your body and do it on a budget. Where I broke out the math. I just did it real quick off the top of my head, and it came out to about $8 a day, less than $8 a day. And so with that, it just kind of prompted this idea of how do we do this on a budget? And what was cool is the meal plan that I laid out for him is my meal plan for the most part. Like that's what I do pretty much every day, except I throw in a couple protein shakes. And protein shakes are more expensive because they're condensed value in the nutrition, right? Like so you pay a higher price tag for a protein shake because it's full of the macronutrients that you need. But the only other difference between what I told the guy that I talked to on Twitter is it was just more because I'm just big, right? Like my protein requirements, I try to get 270 grams of protein every single day. So instead, I told the guy 4 eggs. For me, I eat 6 eggs, and half a cup of oatmeal. I eat a cup of oatmeal. Just depending on what it is. But the idea was, how can we do this on a budget? And then so now we wanted to share some things that we've learned over the years, things that we do now currently to stay on that budget. And for me, like that diet plan for everybody listening was 4 eggs in the morning, half a cup of oatmeal. The eggs, now that the inflation has on eggs has come back down a little bit. Eggs are about 10 cents a piece, 10 to 15 cents, let's say. If we do 4 eggs at 15 cents, that's 60 cents for the eggs. And then a half a cup of oatmeal is probably like 10 cents. So we're talking 70 cents for breakfast, and it's a good, healthy breakfast. Gets you some protein, gets you some fats. Eggs are like a superfood so that you can get all the macros that you need. They're going to fuel your body with good fats. Then, for lunch, if you have ground beef is good. You get some lean ground beef, you buy a pound of that, have half a pound for lunch, get a cup of white rice. I literally buy those 20-pound bags of white rice and use those. First time I bought one, my wife looked at me, he's like, did you do this on purpose? I was like, yeah, I did because you get it's so cheap. You can get a cup of rice. It lasts forever. So you can just cook it up whenever. And then, you eat a cup of rice for lunch. And then for supper, you have a half pound of beef for supper and a cup of rice for supper. And you've got good proteins, good carbs all day. They're easy to digest. They're good, natural, whole foods, and so that meal plan was less than $8 a day. You can eat your food and live healthy and get your protein in. So it worked out good and you'll have to change that depending on your body weight and your goals and stuff. But don't tell me you can't eat healthy on a budget.
Well, I got nothing on that, so I guess we're ready to go. I guess that's the answer.
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
About it. So our shows are going to be in Twitter form under 280 characters now. So
yeah, there you go.
I covered everything. I would say this: there's no perfect way, no more perfect way that you put it. Those are the most affordable foods. Those are actually right now the most abundant as far as there is some foods that are kind of little shortages. Some cuts of meat, stuff like that can be a bit of a problem to get from time to time. But ground beef, white rice, I'm going to have a question about that in a second because I've got like 3 bags of the 20-pound rice because during the uncertain times, we didn't know when next time we were going to be able to. So we stocked up on foods that could last quite a long time.
Sure.
So we got that. The eggs, I'm right back there with the other guy because I was doing 6, but I found that 4 is the sweet spot of eating whole eggs, the whites and the yolks.
Sure.
Why waste the good fats? That's why. But I found that above 4 or 5 or, it's 5 into the 6, I never went above 6. I started to feel like I was having too much, protein and fat and stuff in one sitting. But for me, that saves even more money. If I could knock that down to 3, if I'm having another protein like a ground beef or a meat or something, I could cut it down to 2 or 3 and save on the eggs. So here's the math I did. And I'll ask the question about the rice after this. I went to Aldi today, or the other day, but I went to Target today because Target's usually a lot more. Aldi was $1.18 a dozen, where it was almost up to $4.
Yeah.
A month ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Target, which, usually try not to buy anything at Target, but at Target, I checked it and Target was $1.29, where Target was even above the $4 mark, or like a dozen for
Yeah.
$6. There's
Sure.
no Target tax or whatever they charge extra for the shopping carts that don't like spin like the Walmart ones or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
But I looked at that. Also, I got Greek yogurt, which could be labeled as unaffordable, but just a little side note, if you're willing or you're looking to take a probiotic off Amazon, like a probiotic with however millions or billions of probiotics and prebiotics, Greek yogurt is a natural
Sure.
food that can give you those probiotics much cheaper per serving, plus the protein, the carbs, it's actual food. And
Sure.
then if you want to add some fruit, some granola, and some raisins or whatever, you got a pretty full featured meal right there
Yeah.
for what I would say. Let's break this down, and then I'll ask you a rice question. So 4 eggs, that gives me 3 servings. If I go four for a dozen, so
Yeah.
3 days worth of eggs is $1.18.
Mm-hmm.
Then a 20, say I didn't even get a 20 pound. I checked one of the smaller ones, even at smaller jasmine rice that I usually get from like Walmart, 50 servings for a quarter cup. So
Sure.
for you, that would be probably what, 15, 20 servings in that bag. But the big 20-pound bag, you can get
Lots.
hundreds of servings, even
Yeah.
at a cup a serving. So that right there, and then the ground beef depends on what you're getting and when you're getting it. Um, I would even go with maybe even a quarter pound for some people than a half if you're going to mix it with eggs or other stuff. So we're talking about a quarter pound. That's 4 days worth.
Sure.
So let's go and let's even it out. A third of a pound will get you the same. No, a fourth pound will get you. Jesus, math, Steiner math. I'm just trying to figure it out. Like 4 eggs. 4 eggs will give you 3 days. A
Mm-hmm.
third of a pound will give you 3 days or 3 meals.
Mm-hmm.
Greek yogurt will give you about 3 to 4 servings, so 3 to 4 days. So if you shop every 3 days or so just for the Greek yogurt, you have the eggs and the beef and the rice. They can last you at least a couple weeks if you're
Sure.
using them. Uh, you're eating for maybe less than $8 a day. I mean, like you
Sure.
said, consistency is boring,
Yeah.
but that's the whole thing that gets you results. Here's my rice. I'm off on a tangent, but here's my rice
That's good.
question. I got jasmine rice. Usually there's bigger bags. Usually it's a little more affordable. Are you somebody with jasmine or white rice, or do you like brown rice better? Which do you consider to be healthier?
I I feel like there's a big debate.
What month of the year is it? Because
Yeah.
which is
Yeah. I feel like there's a really healthy debate on it of what's the best. I think the overly bleached white rice, um, you could make an argument that it's not as healthy as the brown rice, but the reason I eat white rice is because I don't feel as bloated after eating a lot of white rice as I do brown rice. I don't know what it is. I don't know the exact difference. I mean, I'm sure we could look it up and figure out what it is, but I just go to the white rice. I come from like that bodybuilder bro mindset, and it was everybody just ate their white rice and broccoli and chicken. That was their standard meal.
like
And
just like the movie stars right now that are all jacked
yeah.
and are fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all they're doing too. Yeah. But the white rice to me, like it's still white. It's still rice. Like it's still a whole natural food. It's a good carb that your body's getting as opposed to eating pasta, where it's a lot different, right? Like it's a processed carb that's a simple bread type carb, and that's not gonna your body's not gonna process that as effectively as it would rice. And so for me, I choose the white rice because I always like I've tested it by going to Chipotle, and I'll get a white rice burrito and I'll get a brown rice burrito. The brown rice burrito always leaves me more bloated. Sure, you got to take account of the wrap as well, but the brown rice it just sits. I feel it more in my stomach, where I feel like the white rice digests so much faster and is so much easier for my body to process. So that's why I go with that.
I agree with that. And usually, rice in general, I don't ever feel super filled up by
Yeah,
eating. I mean, I eat it to complement with the protein or a good fat or whatever. But the the thing with brown rice is I think some people like it because it's even slower digesting than
fair.
white rice. I don't like it. I prefer what you said. Plus, I don't know about brown rice, but white rice is gluten free.
Sure.
So that's the difference between if you're saying, should I have pasta or rice? Pasta is a little bit more expensive at times too, depending on what
Sure.
kind of pasta you get. But there's 100% of the time I feel bloated from pasta, and then white rice. It kind of all depends. Man, we can get down to the granular stuff too, Mike, where how much sodium, how much salt are you putting on your food, how much other things are introduced to make you feel bloated. And
Sure.
there you go. My guess would be any restaurant, including Chipotle,
Yeah.
should automatically be disqualified from a budget and also healthy eating at once. You'll
That's fair.
save a ton of money and you'll actually have more nutrient dense food if you're controlling the preparation of that food, or even
Yeah.
hunting or going to a farm like we do to get our meat, or
Yep.
going to a dairy farm to get your dairy. Whatever you do, if you go to a local food source, you're already way far ahead,
Sure.
and you can
Sure.
choose to add your, red dye or whatever you want to add.
Right.
The
Well,
American way.
yeah, I think that's part of the eating healthy on a budget conversation. You have to think about uh the going out to eat versus cooking at home. And no question, cooking at home is better. And you say you don't have time. Well, you got time to go out to eat, and you sit and wait for when you go to eat, even at fast food places, you still got to wait a couple of minutes. And how long does it take to cook some eggs? Not very long at all. You can cook up some eggs in no time. Rice, you boil water and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and it's done. Right. So like by the time you get to the restaurant or by the time you order the food, you could have everything cooked and prepared. And if you get into meal prepping, there's so much you can do ahead of time because you can cook. I'll cook a huge pot of white rice at the beginning of the week, and then I'll portion that out, and then I'll have my meal set, and then there's no time at all. So then I don't even have to go order anything, and that's a huge cost savings for everybody. When you're really thinking about how can I eat healthy on a budget, taking a half a minute to plan ahead. And you brought up the consistency is boring. It is. It is so boring. And that meal plan that I said of eggs and oatmeal and rice and beef and rice and beef, yeah, that sucks. It's super boring. Super freaking boring. I get it. And there's no flavor. Like I totally understand that it's really, really boring, but are we worried about taste or are we worried about saving money here? Right. And so if we're focusing solely on eating healthy on a budget, then screw what it tastes like. You're just fueling your body and hitting your results. And then from there, like Dave Ramsey, the guru of saving money and stuff, beans and rice, because you get a complete protein. Super cheap. You can eat them. Is it great? Does it taste fantastic? Not really. Is it something you could do long term? I suppose if you had to, but that's not the goal. The goal is to save money, right? And so when we have this healthy budget diet conversation, you just got to focus on that. And then I think once you figure out, okay, well, I don't care about the taste. I just need to get the good nutrients in. Now we think about, well, what is it going to do? What does my body need? Because, you were talking about cutting it back from 4 to 3 eggs. I need more because I'm just bigger, right? So like at 270 pounds versus what are you at now? Getting back up to big Stevie Cool
I
again?
think I'm up to 188.4. So I'm pretty
Okay.
up there.
All right. So you think about that. Like that's what is that? 88 pounds more than what you weigh right now, 82 pounds more. So I'm going to need more food than you to fuel my body every single day. Like you could go the route. I asked before we recorded, like we recorded this morning, but then before we recorded our second episode, I asked my wife, I said, what's your number one tip that I can tell people about how to eat healthy on a budget? And her answer was, just eat less. And I was like, yeah, that'll work, So you could go that route. You could totally go that route, but we also want you to live healthy too, And so you got to fuel properly, and making sure that you're prioritizing the protein is important for eating and staying healthy. Prioritize protein, make sure you get that. And if you have to go on a budget, the one of the clarification questions that I got on the Twitter conversation was the quality of the beef. Do I need to get 93.7? Do I need to get 90.10, 80.20? Obviously, the leaner the cuts, the better. That's going to be just the leaner the ground beef, the better it's going to be. But if you can only afford 80-20, go ahead. It's fine. Like you probably don't want to go down to 70-30, but 80-20 is good enough. It's a good starting point, and it's a temporary thing to get your budget dialed in. And then after a month of eating 80/20, maybe you can afford the extra few cents it is per meal to go to 90/10. And then maybe you can afford to go to 93/7, and it just start somewhere and prioritize the protein, and it's going to help get the budget on track, and then be smart about what you're doing moving forward. And then it's going to help free up to then prioritize and do more. Like I said, my diet was exactly what I told him, but I add in a couple protein shakes. So because I need more protein every day, I add in 2 protein shakes, which each scoop of protein's like $2, because there's 20. Well, I actually do a scoop and a half. So we're talking $2-3 per scoop. So my daily budget of food is closer to $15, but even $15 a day for food to feed yourself and achieve your health goals still isn't outrageously expensive to feed yourself.
One thing that you mentioned Dave Ramsey, and the one thing I was going to bring up too, for people that eat out all the time or at least enjoy eating out,
Mm-hmm.
has very little to do with the food. It's entertainment.
Sure.
Going to a restaurant is entertainment, even though, I go out to certain places sometimes, like the place that has chicken and waffles when we decide to cheat. But I will say this, we go there, it's called Metro Diner. They have great food. And usually if she gets her truck serviced or I get mine serviced, it's right up the road and we got to wait for our thing. So rather than
Oh,
trying to scramble around, we'll just go get something to eat and then they'll call us and we're close by. But even then, like the chicken and waffles, as good as it is or as big of a portion or anything, dude, it's still 16, $17 for
100%. Yeah.
that. And everywhere, if you look at, all you gotta do is look up Google like food near me.
Mm-hmm.
Even McDonald's and the places that were considered to be cheap fast food is now in the $10 to $20, like the $2 sign category is
Yeah.
like there's no more $1 sign
Yeah.
things like they used to have. Even Taco Bell's getting expensive, which, man, you want to talk about, you're better off going with 73.27 or even 27.73 if the
Yeah.
meat existed, and it
Sure.
would be healthier than Taco Bell. It's
Fair.
there's been exposés. If you want to be dialed in or scared straight on saying, you know what, I should cook at home, I shouldn't go out to eat, look up on YouTube like dirty
Yeah.
restaurants or food
Sure.
inspector or whatever, and you're gonna see expired like food and produce. Well, just watch Kitchen Nightmares,
Sure.
like where Ramsey goes to these places. They're filthy. At least
Yeah.
you can clean, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not the best cleaner or anything, but
Sure.
I can clean my kitchen and know the kitchen's clean. I know the food in the fridge
Yeah.
for the most part, besides the things in the back that we all forget about, which is another way to eat healthy on a budget is do not overpay for perishable items that are going to go bad. So
Ah, sure.
I'll segue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a good thought, is making sure that you're not not doing that. And the eating out piece, that's one that for the longest time I thought I was saving myself the time, and I justified it like, okay, I don't have the time to cook, all this kind of stuff. But when I really looked at it, if I get a burrito at Chipotle, I'm not dogging Chipotle at all. I love the burritos, but it's $15 for me because I get double meat because I need I want the extra protein. And even a single burrito is still $10, And so that one time of eating at Chipotle could feed you for the entire day. And then now that I have a family, so I've got a wife and 3 kids, to take the family out to eat is
Oh,
just crazy expensive. Like my wife and I try to go out on a date lunch or a date night once in a while, date breakfast. But we've got a young kid that still comes with us all the time. She's only going to be 4, but so we don't get the alone time. But when we go out, what have we found is like, yeah, it's great. But if you go out to eat on a budget, Cracker Barrel, surprisingly, is super affordable for a date, and we can eat there, 2 of us, for like $30, which really isn't terrible for a restaurant when you think about it. But if you cut out drinks, you cut out sodas, you just drink water, that's one way to save some money when you do go out to eat and you do splurge. Just be smart about what you're eating, be smart about what you're ordering, make sure you maximize the spend and you get a lot of food for the amount of money that you're spending on that dinner.
yeah. I would say too, that's a shock because Cracker Barrel's got a good, really good homemade food. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really good, high quality type of thing. But what you said, what two people could eat for $30, people are excited in 2023. But before 2020, 30
Oh,
bucks
sure.
was a big deal. Like
Yeah.
even if you got two things at like Zaxby's and it was 20, you're blowing your top.
Sure.
Too much money. But I would say that, like, once again, like, you don't know what you're getting. I'm gonna ask you about Chipotle because you mentioned it twice. Do they still have that gimmick where at the end of the night you can get like even more extra meat and extra stuff because they don't keep that stuff overnight? I heard that's like a
Mhm.
way, the good old boys thing. Like,
I
you
did
know,
not know that. Wow. I don't, if I have Chipotle, it's usually midday or early evening. So I don't know the answer
right
to that.
before closing is supposedly the witching hour for getting your free stuff or getting it, like, heck, they're just trying to get rid of the food. I
Yeah.
don't
By the
know
end of
in
the
these
day.
times if they're doing that
Sure.
or cheaping out and keeping it, but Chipotle's been known for we don't keep the food overnight. It's always fresh every day, as far as I know, right? That's
Sure.
what you
Sure. Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I'm gonna have to try that now that you say it.
Well, yeah, this comes from a guy that back in Philly when Wendy's had the buffet. I
Yeah.
I
Oh,
would
dude.
bring freezer bags as a guy just starting out, living in my car, all that stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Not
What were some?
necessarily healthy, but it's something.
No, no. I mean, in the eating healthy on a budget, what were some of the things that you did, like to you said proteins and protein shakes and bars and stuff. What were some of the other things that you did to eat healthy while you were on the road and
I
save
would-
money?
Well, when they came out, those packets of tuna, which aren't cheap either, those little
Mm,
tuna packets, or the ones that have the crackers and stuff like that, I would usually get one of those at least for the flights.
yeah,
You always want a snack, you want to drink a soda and all the unhealthy stuff on the flight. So I would get that. It's not on a budget, but it's on a budget. Excuse me. It's on a budget more than if you're going to eat at the airport. Anything is
sure.
cheaper than eating at the airport. But sometimes you don't have a choice, and that's why they charge so much.
Hmm.
But that's what I would do. I mean, I like my soda here and there. We talked about it on unhealthy eating or unhealthy,
Habits, yeah,
habits. But have you noticed that the restaurants too, even if they don't raise the price on the food or they do raise a little bit, your drinks now are $4 and $5
hmm,
because they know you're going to get a refill to go and they got to factor in the styrofoam cup or whatever. I've noticed they've gotten smart to
sure,
people trying to recoup the big cost. So restaurant wise on the road, unless I was starving, it would be Waffle House or maybe a Perkins
sure,
because they usually would have. But I was always see. I said it last week. We're crazy.
yeah,
So me, I can't eat before a match, uh, like probably 2 to 3 hours before a match at all. Maybe
okay,
more than that if I'm really nervous. Then after the match, there's a weird thing that happens. Like I'll have a shake or a bar,
hmm,
like right afterwards. And usually that would be the time maybe that I cheat a little bit with a soda because I'm trying not to be tempted to go to a Wendy's or a
hmm,
Whataburger or whatever super late at night, which is
sure,
unhealthy, expensive, and it just throws everything off for the next day or two coming home.
sure,
Uh, so that's why I would do that. But that's not necessarily unhealthy either, because I found certain times where I was just so out of it from not eating enough that I needed to eat like a burger or two just to get something
ah,
back. Because
yeah,
I literally worked out in the morning, had a shake or a bar, went to catering. Usually that's when I would have real food, but you don't want to take too much because there's so many people there. You don't want to be
sure,
like what's the word I'm looking for? Jeez, I forgot. You just want to, inconsiderate. You don't want to be
mm,
inconsiderate to other people that are eating. But you're also tempted to take the to go box at 4 o'clock. Um, but I would get into a danger zone where I would have my little bit of a lunch. I would have a shake or a bar after my workout. Then mid afternoon, if they still had catering, I would look, but I'd be like, man, I got a match tonight. I don't want to look
yeah,
fat. I don't want to be bloated. I don't want my stomach to hurt. God forbid if you get food poisoning, which has happened to
sure.
just about everybody. And then I find myself literally on fumes, like at the end of my match, and then figure out what I have to do to eat.
Yeah, sure. Well, and that's a real deal too. Like the not eating enough is part of a health. Like my wife's answer of just eat less. Well, no, that's not healthy either. Like if you're going to eat healthy on a budget, you gotta hit your calorie goal. I mean, I think one of the things that I've realized over the last year really is that when I'm not eating enough every single day, I just feel sluggish and drained. And then that's when I turn to quick things like cookies or whatever I can find because I just feel like, oh man, I got to eat something, and then I make a poor decision because I didn't eat enough throughout the day. But, the last 3, 4 months, I've really dialed in my nutrition and really focused on eating the right amount of calories every single day. But doing that on a budget is hard because you got to get a lot of protein. And for me, protein's probably the most expensive thing that you're going to buy all the time. And when you have to get 270 grams of protein every day, it gets pricey after a while. And so the prioritizing that is important, but making sure that you're eating enough on that healthy budget. And that's where you have to find those options that are super, super boring. Super boring. Eggs every single day gets really, really boring. I have this seasoning that I use that spices them up a little bit, and that's it. And so the ground beef, you have to have a seasoning or something to spice it up a little bit, and then you can stand it every day. But it's about addressing what are my goals here. I want to eat healthy, and I want to maintain my physique, my shape, continue to be healthy every single day. And I want to save money in the process. So for the time being, while I'm saving money, I'm just going to be the most boring eater on the planet. And then I think one thing that's also really worked for me a lot is just keeping it super, super boring. I literally eat the same thing almost every single day. I mean, I have 6 eggs and sausage links every morning for breakfast, and it works for me. I change it up sometimes depending on how many carbs I want to have. I'm trying to cut some of my belly fat right now, so I do more protein, less carbs, and that's why I don't have the oatmeal. But I do the same thing every day. And it makes life easier because I have to buy less groceries. So I don't have to have as much food in the house. So I don't buy extra things. And it really helps with saving the money because it's dialed in and I'm eating the same thing every day. It's boring, but it gets results.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. My wife likes a lot more variety, but if she likes what she likes, if she goes
Mhm.
back to the same half dozen things like we do, but it's just tough for people to think that. But I mean, but there's nothing really exciting about eating out either. People
Sure.
usually get the same stuff when they eat out every
Yeah.
single time. So it's no different. Another big protein source that used to be cheap, and I didn't check the prices when I checked the egg prices, but that's tuna, canned tuna,
Yes. Yep.
very even the canned chicken and stuff like that. The only thing I would say, and I'm not sure about studies, like I said, every other month it changes. So this is your
Mhm.
white rice, brown rice argument. You don't know if you eat the tuna out of a can every single day, what's that going to do for your mercury intake? Because
Oh,
that's something
sure.
you have to consider. So I've limited my fish, at least from a can, to maybe once or twice a week.
Sure.
But the number one, like you said in the beginning, you'll say it again. Eggs are pretty much a foolproof source of protein. There's no,
Yep.
outside of somebody deliberately poisoning the eggs or doing whatever, there's
Yep.
no side effects I could think about that you can have as long as you eat them in moderation for your protein needs.
Yeah, and even not in moderation too. Like, I mean, I feel like the cholesterol piece and the bad fats or whatever from eggs is being debunked. And I feel like I've read some stuff over the last few months that is really just totally like, no, eat eggs every day, all day. Eat the whole egg. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to spike. Like, it's not going to cause the bad cholesterol that everybody says that it did back in the day. And eggs are more or less a superfood. I mean, think about it. Like, let's let's use common sense here for a second with eggs. Um, Eggs are the baby chicken, right? Or whatever the bird is, but it's that egg has to turn into a living thing. Well, to do that, it has to have all the vitamins and nutrients and minerals and all the good stuff to become a living creature. And so if you eat an egg, you're getting all of that good stuff that would be making it a living creature, right? And now obviously it wasn't fertilized, so it's not, so whatever, animal rights activists, don't come after me. We don't
It's
need
not
another
scary, buddy.
copyright
Tell
claim.
them there's a chicken growing in your belly and it's going to peck its way out of your stomach like alien. Enjoy
So,
your
but
eggs.
the common sense part of it is it's just, it's the eggs are like the perfect food to eat, and eat them every day. I've been trying to everybody that'll listen to me, which is not many, in my family at least, and I try to tell them eat eggs every day, every single day, every day, every day. And they, yeah, no, they're good for your brain. They're good for your, specifically, they're good for your brain. If you have a family history of dementia or Alzheimer's or things like that, I can't make any claims. I'm not making a claim here, but because the eggs are so good for your brain, why not give your brain the best fighting chance to stave that off at the end of your life, right? Like, so why not fuel your brain now, give it all the things that it needs to be healthy for longevity to help work against any potential degenerative diseases in the future, you know? So in my opinion, eat the whole egg, eat all the eggs, eat as many as you want every day. You can't go wrong with it as far as I'm concerned.
So what you're
I'm a
basically
doctor.
saying is to use the terminology these people are afraid of these things. It's safe and effective.
There you go. Yes.
And if you eat enough, it will boost the amount of protein. So you'll be getting your booster.
Yeah.
So that.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's there's
Oh,
just,
I'll fit it in. I'll fit it
yeah,
in.
no, I get it, man. I get it. And you know, like I get on a tangent when I start talking about eggs because I get irritated that people are like, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that with eggs." And I'm like, why? How? To your point earlier, this might have been from the prior recording that we tried with the cereal being healthier than eggs. You know, like it's mind-boggling to me that somebody would think for a second that Fruity Pebbles is healthier than eating an egg. And the idea that because it's got added vitamins and added nutrients and there's good carbs in it and it's whole grains and so it's heart healthy. Come on, man. Like I just, whatever. I get irritated.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, General Mills is known for making some real quality cereals, right? They're
Sure.
healthy. Nothing unnatural about them. You want to
No,
talk? I think General Mills has like the cornered the market on the red dye stock and all the food coloring
oh,
because that's all they put in their cereals.
totally
But
true.
allegedly, how's that? I'll cover our bases.
Allegedly. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
Well,
so funny that people who never did any research or read will get mad at you because you're trying to, and they'll be like, I don't need to see that. I already know. No, you
yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
because you didn't read this. No, I
Yeah.
don't need to read. I have all the, you
Yeah.
know, we got a reader here.
Yeah. Well, and from a budget perspective, you know, when I buy the 60 pack of eggs, and at one point they were up over $20, but now they're back down to $6 for 60 eggs. It's $10 an egg, or 10 cents an egg. I don't know if you can find a better, cheaper food source than 10 cents an egg. It's a complete protein, so you're getting all the protein that you need from that source, and for 10 cents, you know, like that's crazy. How much nutrients are you actually going to get from 10 cents of cereal? You know, cereal's not cheap. A box of Fruity Pebbles is like $5. And if I buy that for my kids, which is not frequently, but they like to have Rice Krispie treats made out of Fruity Pebbles, you know, when we're having a snack, and we're kids. So I let them have it once in a while. But they're $5 a box, and they're gone in no time because there's no nutritional value to them, and they just eat through them, burn through them, and then feel miserable afterwards, you know?
Well, plus what their servings are on the label.
Mm-hmm.
At least with an egg, you know, the egg is the serving.
Yeah,
But a serving of Fruity Pebbles, like a quarter cup is a serving.
sure.
You're going to go through at least a cup to 2 cups. You don't fill that ball up and get the measuring cup and go, okay, I'm going to be really careful with my portions.
Right.
You're going to fill that thing up as much as possible. Throw a few
Yeah.
Oreos in there, do all that stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah. So yeah,
no, go
the whole
ahead.
conversation is about eating healthy on a budget. I think to get started with that, you need to figure out what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish right now, and how serious of a budget do we need to focus on, right? How much room do you have to play with every single day? But I think a good way to assess that would be to find the cheapest possible meal that you can eat that's still healthy. And that's why one thing we left out when I was talking earlier is I left out the frozen veggies. If you do half a pound of beef, depending on the size of who the person is, but an average 200-pound guy, 180-pound guy, half a pound of beef, cup of white rice, and half a small bag of frozen veggies. You do that for lunch, do that for supper. This works great for single guys that don't have families that they have to worry about. If you're really trying to dial things in, do that, and then have the eggs and the oatmeal every morning for breakfast. Put that on repeat. Do that for a couple weeks. See how that works for your budget, and then assess, okay, I can afford this. Where can I add in another snack to achieve my protein goals for the day? Is this working for me? But I think you've got to stick to it for a couple of weeks before you make any changes and add more into it. But you got to figure out what you can actually afford. I think part of the process is cutting out the stuff, stopping at Starbucks or buying energy drinks, wasting money on that. I mean, I used to spend $10 a day on energy drinks. Totally killed my bank account, but I did it. And when I realized it was like, oh crap, I can't do that no more. So figuring those things out, setting the intention for a couple of weeks of let's stick to this diet plan for a couple of weeks, eat the exact same meal for a couple of weeks, and then tweak it from there to fit whatever goals. I mean, what would you suggest for somebody starting out on trying to address a budget?
Well, I would say I would have more of a permanent mindset with it
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I want to save money. Maybe there's a goal of this is the way I want to eat and save money and not eat out at lunch, dinner, get energy drinks. That
Yeah.
Starbucks alone is 60 eggs or more.
Sure.
It's $6 to $10 now if you want to
Yeah.
add. They charge for the little squirts of the
Yep.
caramel or whatever. So you can literally have over a week's worth or more of eggs for
Mm-hmm.
one coffee from Starbucks.
Yep. That's a very
While
good point.
still with the money left over, get yourself a pretty damn good coffee to make it home, like higher quality.
Yeah.
You know
True.
exactly what you're putting in there. So the breakfast part, that's what I would do. Just cut out whatever on the way, getting Dunkin' Donuts, getting Starbucks, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
cut that out. You'll save money. Lunchtime, of course, cutting out and say, and if you're meal prepping, like you said, with steaming rice, I got rice right now in an Instapot,
Mm-hmm.
just warming up, ready for my wife when she comes home for dinner and everything, and then we're ready to go.
Yeah.
That's a few days right there, and that was only 2 cups of rice, which is
Mm-hmm.
going to be two people's meals or part of them for at least 2 days.
Sure.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I would do that. I would definitely meal prep. And before you know it, if you wanted to turn around and say, okay, if I do this for a year, I'm going to buy myself a new truck or a new
Oh,
car.
sure. There you go.
Or if I do this for 90 days, guess what you'll have money for? Probably enough money to build your own home gym.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
Your
That's totally a good
commitment
way to look at it.
now, if you're commuting to the gym and doing all that stuff, now you have a motivation to save the money, and then you'll have the money to now be able to have more time to meal prep, even in the morning, because you don't have to drive to the gym because your gym's right there. Now you're
Yeah.
10, 20, $30 a month on the gym membership is cut out. There's another 360 a year potentially that you're saving. So between Starbucks, going to lunch, which I'm not saying you can't do it like maybe once every week or so, but I think, like you said, you have to completely go cold turkey on that. I'd
Sure.
say for longer than 2 weeks, because once you see the money you're saving, and
Yeah,
you
that's
have to
fair.
literally put that in a jar on the fridge or something to see how much money that you're not putting in the Starbucks, Chipotle, Subway, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, at the end of the year, that's thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Bought your home gym, you build your home gym. So
Yeah.
maybe you have a down payment for a car or towards a house or home improvements, and your
Sure.
options and your stress level all around, I think, will drop if you take control of your eating budget.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
know that
that's
was a
good.
tangent. Sorry, but
But no, that's really, really good stuff. And I hope everybody heard that because, and if you didn't, go back and listen to it again, because what Stevie just laid out there is a way for you to really take control of your life and manage better mindset, better attitude, better everything, because you just started with taking control of your budget on a diet, like little simple changes. Uh, and I say that I've been saying this a lot lately. Boring consistency brings exciting results. And if you can stay boringly consistent for 90 days, a year, just think about how much money you can save. Just like Stevie was talking about, you can save a ton of money to have money to give you peace of mind, to put in a savings account so that the next medical bill that comes up, or your dryer, my dryer's about to kaput on me, $500, $400 for a new dryer. Like, you can save that and have that peace of mind put away just by dialing this in. So go back and listen to what Stevie said again, because it literally could change your life just by focusing on your diet and eating on a budget.
isn't that crazy? Just one little change can just ripple out to all these
Yeah,
different things. It's very much a Dave Ramsey baby step fight. I think that's like
sure.
fitness baby steps to get
Yeah.
people to take control of not just your fitness lifestyle, your health, wellness lifestyle, but literally your life. You can take control of it. And people think that's silly, but add up a week of Starbucks, add up a week of
Yeah.
lunch, and then maybe if you want to go out to dinner on the weekends once or twice, add all that up, even just 1 week, and
Mhm.
see. I'm betting you minimum a
Yeah.
hundred to $200.
Yeah,
Like,
sure. Well, here's our challenge to everybody that's listening to this. Start eating on a budget, dial in some boring consistency, and see what you can do. Let us know. Comment in the leave a comment and let us know how much money you can save, what your daily budget is for meals. Mine's about $15 a day. I'll get hard numbers on it and I'll share that. But it's it's not hard. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple to do. And if you can just make a choice starting right now to focus in on that diet, eat healthy on a budget, and then take that into the next areas of your life. You got to start somewhere. Well, there's your place to your start, and you got a challenge from me and Big Stevie Cool to get it done.
well, medium, not big. Oh, medium. Oh,
I
medium.
threw that out there, boy.
I was going to say something about that. Um, I wanted to say too that gives me an idea. We've talked off camera about having some kind of free guide for everybody that we're going to
Yeah,
come up when we get the website. We get a lot of things are moving around, but I think that particular element should be part of the guide. Talk
yeah,
about
that's a good
eating
idea.
healthy and an example meal plan, what Big Mike eats every day, what I eat every day, and how much you can save over the course of time. Average cost of Starbucks, average cost of even a Subway sandwich on its own or a combo, that kind of general kind of budgeting stuff should be a really positive thing for people to see in writing.
Sure. Yeah. No, I love that. I just wrote it down.
Mike's our write it down guy.
Got to take notes, otherwise I forget. So, okay. So any final thoughts on this eating healthy on a budget concept? I mean, we've talked quite a bit about it, but any final thoughts on it?
Well, I just think, like you said, boring consistency leads to exciting results.
Hmm.
I don't even want to say bored because these words tend to scare people or tend. You have to look at your life. Your life is consistent. It consists of habits anyway. We
Sure.
all like the same 6 to 10 things that we do all the time, if not
Yep.
less.
Yeah.
So eating is generally the same thing. It's just that when you're kind of forced to not eat as much or not eat as many variety of foods, you feel trapped. But you
Mhm.
just got to know that you're the one choosing these, and what you're choosing, number one, can always change if you want. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be the same.
Sure.
But if you choose the ones that we talked about today, you're going to have so much benefit, and you're going to realize, my God, either I can get creative and spice these up or do whatever I need to do, or now that I'm getting results and I feel great and I'm getting more jacked and all this stuff, and I have more money than I had before I started this, you're not going to care about it because the boring is completely out of the window. All you're looking at now is everything that's ahead of you and the food is now just a tool to get those goals lined up to where you want them.
Amen to that, brother. Yep. That's good stuff. That's real good stuff. I think that's a great way to end the show right there, because I really think that, like, if everybody that's listening to this, if you're still here listening, thank you for listening. But I think some of the tips, if you can just implement some of those tips, like Stevie said, you can really just take control of your life. It can take a little time, but you can totally do it. And that's awesome. I'm feeling good right now. That's good.
Yeah. I'm glad.
This is good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Hey, I'm just happy to be sitting here with no pain. I'm good. That's a bonus. And just we want to help everybody out there, and that's what we're going to end it with. The whole mission statement of the Big Fitness Show is not only to help people, but help people in a very easily relatable and understandable way. And we hope to do that. We joke, we make fun of ourselves, we're self-deprecating, we have a good time with the information, but we seriously believe more than anything that each and every person out there, no matter what, and I was in a spot not too long ago, no matter what spot you're in, you can always try to improve your life, no matter what kind of difficulties or limitations you may have right now. There's always something that can be done to move yourself forward. As impossible as it seems, that I was for 2 weeks there were some impossible odds against me. Let me tell you, they do not last. As long as you stay alive and keep pushing and trying to wake up every day, you can make a big difference in your life and other people. So just remember that it's just food. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not a big boss in a video game. It's just food. You can pick another protein if you want. So
Sure.
But you can always email us, StevieRichardsFitness@gmail.com. Mike, give me your email so they're not.
It's bigmikebehrens@gmail.com.
That's
Comment below, email us whenever you
He's
want.
a better source of information than me. So go to him.
Well, you can follow us on social media.
In a month, that's me, but Mike's to diet and work out.
Yeah, I mean, you can also follow us on social media too. Like, our links are in the description of the video and the podcast episode. Follow us there. I post food that I eat a lot of times, meal ideas, things like that, different things that you can do for more information to stay accountable. Stay subscribed to the show. We'll continue to try to bring as much value to this as we possibly can, and just try to help everybody live healthier. I mean, that's the goal here, right?
I'm going to try. I mean, unless next month it says the research says in order to live healthy, you have to live unhealthy. And that study will probably be, we're joking, but
yeah,
probably on its way pretty soon. So I'll let you take us out, Mike. You got the better radio voice tonight.
Well, hey, thanks for tuning in today, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. I think we had a great conversation. Take the challenge. Take control of your life. Start by dialing in your diet and take control. Follow the show, share the show. Please share the show. We're trying to impact as many lives as we possibly can. Subscribe to the channel. It just helps us get found by more people. And follow us on Instagram, social media, all the places, so we can communicate in between shows. And yeah, thanks for tuning in to the Big Fitness Show, and we'll see you in the next episode, everybody.
See that? Yeah, sounded like you were singing. That's why we got the copyright. That's it. I found it.
Fair enough. I can start singing. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.